They call me Bobby Boucher. Alright, so here we are back with the V8 lawnmower here. And you're gonna have to forgive this video because some of the footage is from a year ago actually. When I was working on it, I got back to the Mustang here and that was my prime focus. And then I also had a kid. So this got shelved. So the footage actually spans over 12 months. And the beginning of this video is time-lapse the way I used to do videos. And then about halfway through it gets back to kind of more modern footage. But here's a glimpse of what you're about to see. And hope you enjoy. So I put this bracket in the mount in the exact same location as this side, so that the turbos would be perfect, like in the same spot. But I did not even think that the mount is not centered, obviously, on a turbo. It's offset to one side. So this one looks great. But then when I mounted this turbo, you can see it's actually almost behind this headlight. So, let's see. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can show you here. You can see how this mount is offset to one side. So on this one it pushed it out, but on this side it pulled the turbo in. So my solution to that is I bought a third elbow, and instead of coming out straight like this, I'm going to turn this one to the side and then use this one and weld to it. So it'll have an extra bend and push the turbo out slightly. And I don't know if it'll be perfect, but it'll be better than it mounted here, because let's be honest, this thing is mainly just going to be for show. It will work, you will be able to drive it, but it's going to be nuts. So I want it to look as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So now let's chop this off, weld this on, and then redo it. Alright, let's get to cutting. So that nearly fixed it perfectly. You can see that the turbo's placement is exactly how I want it. So that's perfect. Pretty close. About as close as I'll get. I wonder how much boost I'm gonna make with these headers. accurate. So normally you can get a metal brake. It's pretty much the same thing that clamps two pieces of steel in your steel, and then you have like a lever and it pushes the back of it and you can bend it really nice. But we don't have that. So we're gonna try to just get it to go. I don't know how well we're gonna be able to get it. In a perfect world, I'd have a third clamp. I guess I can go look for one. Alright, I actually found one. So okay, let's do this. Try to then. This was $50 for this piece, so there's no messing up. It has to just be correct. I just made a dent in it with my knee. Maybe I shouldn't push with my knee. Yeah. I'm gonna try to push. What am I gonna try to push with? I've got nothing. Because I don't want to dent. I actually want it to look semi-decent. I don't want it to just look like I bent this up in my garage with a squat rack and 3 clamps. Looks like trash. Okay, what I need is wood. A piece of wood. Burned! Oh my gosh, see those wrinkles? Looks like doo-doo. Oh man, I just realized I have another clamp. We clamp this flat. Like, put a clamp on this and then compress it. Get it flat. Well, it's working. Alright, it's not 90 degrees, but we're gonna try this. Alright. Sweet. Okay, so now we have to bend this side. So let's flip this baby. Alrighty. Thanks. This is how you get fingers cut. There's one. I think I'm just gonna do it exactly how I did the last one. This clamp on the bottom here. Alright. Oh, there is a gap. I don't know if it's my bent pipe or if it's this Chinese squat rack. It's a piece of metal with a weld berry on it. That was almost my eyes. Yeah. Alright, so I'm building the dash. So this will be offset like this, but I had it cut so that, built this so that it would fit on the inside like this, and then bolt through here exactly like I did here. But then, while I was doing this, I realized, I was like, oh yeah, this is in more, so it's gonna actually sit on top. So then I measured from here to here, the distance that is, and then cut that to this distance, but you can see this is lower. So when I just put it on, it now sits super low. So that's a problem now. I just always mess it up. It was too high. It was sitting 1 inch taller than this, so that might have actually looked cool. I don't know. And the hood, you saw me bend that. And last minute I changed my design for the hood, and instead of making it flush against this, because it actually would have tapered in towards the front, and then I was going to try to do like a flare, build a flare and like a cool hood type thing coming up, and then last second I decided to change it and add this gap here instead of it coming in to flare it to the width of this, and now I think it looks too big, looks too bulky. So basically I just screwed every single thing up. So now I'm gonna take this off and weld these bars to this bar and then bolt it back on. It's gonna have a gap, and then I'm just gonna fix it with it as one unit then, because this can pivot, you can see, but this goes to the front end. So this, I'm going to make this level, put a level on this. So then when it has the other part bolted to it, it'll bolt on. It will not be able to move because it'll have 4 bolts and be one little unit. And everything on this is going to be able to be removable. Like all of this, you'll be able to just remove this, remove the hood so you can pull the engine. So now we gotta unbolt this. So I'm trying to get the chassis here onto its own wheels. So these trailing arms had the bearings kind of built into them because it's independent, so it's all one unit. Well, they were locked up, so they didn't spin. They were laying out in a pile, so they're probably just all rusted up or something. So I don't have any tools in the garage. The main goal of this is so that I can get this thing out of here into the shop, because I keep having to bring stuff back and forth, and see, I don't have any tools here. I don't want to walk all the way out there. But we're just gonna pull all this off. We just did the front, the adjustments. I cut and welded them to the proper length, but we don't have the steering shaft hooked up yet. So I gotta get a 3/4 socket or something, pull this off. Be right back. Okay. Went there, back to the shop and got this. Yeah, it's kind of gets annoying and pretty old when I need the welder here, but then I run out of work or run out of materials, so then I need the welder in there and whatnot. So here's the tire. This is the factory Corvette brakes that we won't be using. We'll probably not put this rotor back on just to pull the wheels in bit further. If it, maybe, I don't know, I might like the way it looks. But. Sucks, I don't want to take it all apart. See, I was going to use the e-brake inside here, which is like a drum brake. So it has the normal disc brake, and instead of like, you'll see a lot of cars, when you pull the e-brake, it just tightens the rear brake. There's like a manual section, like all Mustangs, well not all, but not sure about all. A lot of them are like that, where it'll just actuate the rear. But this Corvette used brake pads inside, which sounds good, but sometimes they hang up and you can't get them off. But it's good because it's a secondary thing, so you're not just going to keep wearing this. But in this case, it would benefit me. I mean, I could even just cut the rotor off or something and just have a drum. But for brakes, we're thinking about, well, I say we, it's just me, I do this a lot. I'm going to put a rotor, some type of disc on the yoke that goes into the transmission, and I'm going to put a caliper right here underneath where I sit and then plate it with steel, so when or if it blows apart, it just doesn't take me out. But I'll have a brake rotor there, and I might still do the drums also, so I'll have the emergency brake, manual cable, and then I'll have hydraulic brakes as well. So, alright, well, I'm gonna tear this all apart. Oh man, I'm sore. Alright, so I watched a YouTube video on how to do this because I thought I was doing it wrong. And technically I did something wrong. The guy left this all bolted in, but this does just punch out this, I don't know what you'd call this, but we're gonna give it the beans. Might bend this strap a little bit. Alright. Bam. There we go. Now, what we're hoping is this hub and spindle, I don't know what it's exactly called, but the hub has a long shaft that comes out the back that all this goes onto, and then this bolts on top of it, and then normally you'd have a half shaft or a drive shaft. It looks exactly like a drive shaft, but the half shaft will then go here, and then to your rear end you'd have that in between. Well, we just deleted that, so this bolts directly to it. But this slides on, and you can see how it's splined in here, and the splines go in there, and that's how it drives your rear wheel. So we just want to drive that out, push it out, and then we can disassemble this entire thing and clean it all. So this should be strong. So now let's give her some power. Well, it doesn't appear to be working. The guy in the video had this awesome giant metal. Oh my gosh. I better you're ruining that. It was like a metal. It was like the size of a socket, like a deep well impact socket, and it's screwed on. Giant piece of steel. Because this wood is absorbing some of the shock. But this does not want to come out. Let's see. I don't even know how I'd get this in a press without ruining half this stuff. Like this shield. If this wasn't here, it'd be alright, like easy. So I got it to come out. You can see the bearing and everything, this ancient grease. That's all grease, but it's just toast. And you can see how bad this is. The bearing might be savable. I don't know. I might just be able to clean it and repack it. See, you can see how that's like your hub, which I do have a broken stud, 2 of them down there, so I gotta replace those. And then it's a spindle, or whatever you want, whatever this is actually called. But you can see here I messed that up, so I gotta order a die. So then here's where it goes. That's where the bearing was seated. All down in there. It's pretty gnarly. To bang the thing out instead of that thing that screws on, it looks just like this, but it's like the size of, I don't know, it looks like a nut, but it screws on to protect your threads and then bottoms out there. But I just put this socket on it. It's a 3/4. I did chip it twice, but it fit perfect, and I just hit that till it came out. So I've got that other bearing, the one that's I'm having a lot of trouble with. It's really dirty and it's like it feels really gritty. I ran out of brake clean, so I filled a paint can lid full of gas, and I've got it soaking in it now, and I'll go get brake clean later. But for today, we can actually assemble this somewhat. We're not going to fully build it all the way. We're just going to paint this black to match the other one, and then we can put the dust shield or whatever, dust cover, it's like brake dust shield thing. We can put that on and get it ready for the bearings and that wheel thing. I don't know what you'd actually call that, because it's not just the hub, it's like the shaft. I don't know. This is a very complex independent rear suspension assembly. Like this one trailing arm, it's got probably like 10 or 12 pieces to it. But alright, we're gonna paint this. So actually first, let's remove this clip. Well, I just laid it in a bunch of grease. Now we gotta clean it before we paint it. Again. Okay. Gotta get that off there. So I was able to remove this section here from the other one, which is what houses the bearings in it. And I already cleaned this one quite a bit and got a lot of the grease out, but this bearing is the back one, so we got to clean that. and it's not gonna be perfect, but then again, this isn't going back on a car. This thing just has to be able to roll under its own power because they were locked up solid. They would not spin. So, all right, I'm gonna clean this stuff up and then probably repack this one and then fully assemble this unit and then go to this one after that. So, all right, time to get to cleaning. Yeah, so this one's a bit worse than the other one, but I think it'll clean up fine. Good enough for a lawnmower. You can see in there, it's just, I cleaned all that out. You can see where I was scraping, but yep, we're gonna get this one cleaned up, repacked. I just pinched my skin, and doesn't look like much on camera, but it's a small chunk of skin missing that I just beat with this. Now I gotta get grease all up in it and brake clean. Walmart brand, but yep, okay, let's rebuild it. Yep. I just want to do stuff anywhere else but on a tree stump. I dropped the bearing and I'm out of brake clean, and it's now just full of dirt. All right, so we've got these pieces painted, and it is just rattle can. We're gonna take the engine and everything off that frame and paint it probably with a actual air compressor. But I got some jet black paint from a BMW I had painted a while back, so it'll all be painted. But this stuff, we just paint like this. So okay, this piece goes on like this. And then this piece goes like this. And I forgot the nuts. Oh, they're all the way in the garage. And for your brakes, there's a piece that goes here that sticks out and it sits down in there. It's for your drum, like your parking brake, and the original plan was to run those parking brakes. So if I do put parking brakes on, we're gonna have to take this apart and take these nuts off to go here, take this bolt out that holds this on, and pull this all apart. But that's later. All right, so now I gotta go grab these nuts from the garage. Half my stuff's in there and half's back here, so I walk back and forth probably 20 times a day at least. Okay, be right back. Alright, so I got new lock washers for it. This mower's gonna be nuts. Voila. Maybe. Oh man, this one has like no threads. just spinning. Yep. Well, who knows what thread this is? It's super fine. Chances are I don't have the bolt or the nut. I mean, so it's gonna get 3 of them. Wow. Alright. So there these are. The only thing left is for the spindle and hub to drop down in there. And then put them back on the mower. And then it'll finally roll. And it'll roll on its own. We got the steering hooked up, so there's no steering wheel, but the wheels move together. Instead, they would just flop all over. And to get the lawnmower in the shop, I have to be able to roll it without it sinking into the sand. So, and those casters that it's on, it'll just go right in. So, one step closer. This little yard trailer is the most useful thing ever. I've carried everything from this V8 lawnmower build. I just got it on there, put it on there with the cherry picker, and now we're gonna take it off with the crane. And rear ends like this. I've had engines right there on it, and everything from wood. I mean, it's the best thing ever. My dad built it when I was a kid. It's used, made out of this rectangle stock here, and then this is bed frame, like bed rail. But, and then, yeah, bed rails, and this is a tie rod to something. So, you guys saw me take this apart, and that was a long time ago. So I just built them, just put them back together right now off camera. And this one, the threads were messed up, so I just impacted it on, and I don't think it's coming off. So there's some grease in them. I cleaned them best I could. Ow, man, it's like a bug or something on me. Maybe a fire ant. Something's biting me. My shirt is so soaked I could wring it. But anyway, where was I? Okay, so I put that side on, and it does spin now. There's a lot of resistance though, so I don't know if that's just the transmission or all this stuff's old. I think like all of it was sitting outside, so before I got it. Except this was in a shed. Well, that's important. Okay, well, we're just gonna zip these down real quick and install this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this thing put back together and then probably fire it up. And then after we fire it up, we're gonna disassemble everything and take it down to a bare chassis and then paint it all so it doesn't rust. Oh gosh. Come on. Come on. I don't know how tight. I mean, that's pretty good. This one only's got 3 lug nuts, so if anything, I think that's the weak point. Okay. Now we disassemble all this stuff. So, man, I think there's fire ants. I was laying down yellow. These come right out. These come out, so that's a problem also. We're gonna have to fix that later on. But for now, I mean, that would work for this test drive and mock-up. But these, we had to rebuild these now because these were locked up. We wouldn't have been able to even roll it. Okay, insert, nope, that's the other cap. Yeah, I forgot to put the other one back on. Okay, insert that and rotate. Okay, this is where we're having friend is coming here. Yep. Okay. Bolts. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'm putting those 2 large giant bolts in up front. Okay, I'm gonna put the second one in. I just used that thing. Oh God, that fucking hurt. Shouldn't cuss. Don't cuss, kids. There's one. Here comes my help. Are you here to help? I already lifted it. You're gross. I know you guys can't see much. I'm not talking much either, man. I'm just tired. It's been so hot. I'm just trying to get anything done. But it's just sweating. One more, just loose fit. That's what she said. Okay, so this, if you have a C3 or C2 Corvette, this will look familiar. I had cut one of these in half and it had to be extended just like an inch or whatever that is, and it fits perfectly in some square tube, but not fully. I had to cut it. So, man, I really got bit. It's starting to hurt a lot in my neck. But anyway, I'll show you this. So this goes under here like this. See, this is where it used to go. It used to go to this on your car, and the other end would go right there. So that shows you how much this is narrowed. This entire bar on each side. There we go. So there's one. And this one, see, this is why I didn't want to tighten anything. See how far off that was? So line that. And these are cut. It's not a perfect circle on this. One end's flat, so this only goes on one way. But I think we might bolt something here and then run it to the frame so it has another point of contact even, because all the weight is going to be on this, and then if you get on it, you know, this has to hold the whole weight of everything. We have this one bar here, this bar under here, which this bar does not bolt to any of the frame yet. I'm probably going to weld it. If I weld it right here, then we're probably totally solid if this bolts there. But then this bolts to the frame up there. So not a lot of points until we weld this. And this bottom bar being really secure on that is gonna be complete strength, and that'll add, it'll just strengthen it. Man, I'm so dehydrated I can't really think. But look at this bolt here, we're way out. Oh, come on. What if this fits? Well, it's a 9/16, so this is a 5/8, but it's somewhat working. Where's my wrench? Pocket wrench. Okay, so now I'm gonna tighten these babies up. And then I will spin this side over here with my crowbar, pry bar, or whatever, and we'll watch it spin. And the Holley EFI that I run on everything, we're giving it up and putting it on this Mustang over here just to get it run. So that means I have no way of running this engine with twin turbos. Because the Holley you can run boost through it, or mount on top of the supercharger and run pole boost through it. So that's amazing. See here, we'll spin this side backwards. Yep. So we're gonna get this thing done. It's gonna have twin turbos, but it's not gonna be running boost through them. Lame. That's until we get a EFI unit, which they're like 15 or 1600. They're worth it though, every penny. After I got that Holley, I just will never run carburetors. I was going through so much trouble. But okay, there's that. So now we have these wheel or hubs back on, mocked up. We'll tighten everything, mount the wheels, and we got the steering done. Well, it doesn't have a steering wheel, but the tie rods are all mocked up there. Move that over, and we'll get this thing on the ground. While we're here, we just cut those off. You can see those markings. I'm gonna cut these front poles off just so this takes up less room. I sketched this. This is what I was just thinking. If I cut this off and then cut this triangle out, I can bend this outer piece in at an angle so it'll look like that. That'll be the front of this thing. So we're gonna try to cut that right now and just beat it in just so we kind of 2 birds in 1 stone. Get our wheels, get this thing on the ground, 3 birds, and make this smaller. When I put weight on this thing shot across the shop and it continuously got smaller. And I ran over and grabbed my phone off the phone charger. But yeah, we missed the whole thing. It was crazy. It was shooting like a blast. But yeah, I think we got a problem. One's flat. We're gonna try to steal these front tires off the original V8 lawnmower. Still has the mounts for a small block Chevy, but I've got an engine for it sitting right there. That's gonna go here. Once again, we're dealing with something that doesn't roll. So I couldn't almost put the crane over this, but the crane is blocked by the Mustang, and I can't move this because it's got that engine in the way, and it doesn't roll. So I'm gonna try to stick this dolly under it, and hopefully it doesn't slide under and take out my radiator, which it very well could. So maybe I'll put it on this one side. I don't even know if this will work. Let's see, what am I gonna do if I even get it up higher? Put this block of wood under it. I'm not gonna be able to get it that high all alone. So if I get hurt, it'll just have to be a minute. Ready? Here we go. We'll go like this. Need a smaller piece of wood. What do I have? I have this. But now I can't put it on a piece of wood. The piece of wood's stuck under. Oh wait. In theory, I might be able to get that to work. Is that high? Nope, it's not. What the heck? You know? Nope, it's not. And if I do this, it'll take a further away. So, I don't want to bend this piece of metal, but I could probably wedge this piece of metal under the frame like that, put the jack under one side. But I'd rather not bend this because I need it. Well, what's going to do it? Probably going to push my jack backwards. Or that whole thing. So, I mean, this is where my crane would come in handy, but my shop's too small and I've got too much crap. I wrapped a chain around my jack and it worked. I'm gonna lower it down. Hopefully this tire doesn't blow out. I gotta move this first. Okay. Oh man, it's going down pretty good. It's sitting on my jack. Ugh. Come out. On the other wheel. Well, look out, doggy. I gotta put air in that baby. So I'm going to get back to this eventually. Towards the end, you guys saw me get this back on its own, or not back, officially get it on its own wheels, finally rolling around. We did just steal one of the turbos on the other side for our two-stroke Datsun V8 build. But we're going to get back to this eventually. I also took the Holley EFI for the Mustang, but lots of stuff happened to this, and there's a lot more to eventually happen. To drive it like this, I could just put the zoomies back on and drive around like this after I do the steering and the seats and the brakes. But this video kind of was all over. Thanks for watching the V8 lawnmower. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned.